Located in central Germany, Oberhof has a year-round population of just 1,600 residents, but annually thousands upon thousands come as tourists, and many of them to witness great sports here in the village of Oberhof. One of those great sports, of course, luge. Where earlier today in men's singles competition, Wolfgang Kindl of Austria sits in third place, staring at a couple of teammates. Last week's winner in Innsbruck, Nico Gleiche, is in second, and fellow Austrian Jonas Mueller leading the way. In fact, last week on their home track in Innsbruck, Austria finished 1, 2, 3, 4 in men's singles, and right now in Oberhof, Germany, they're doing just that, holding the top 4 spots after the first run of competition. Hi again, everyone. I'm Tim Singer. Welcome to Oberhof, Germany, site of the 2023 World Luge Championships and World Biathlon Championships as well, as they packed in thousands and thousands of fans in and around this Thuringen ice arena. Temperature right now just below, but it's very, very humid. You see that 89%, that just doesn't begin to describe how heavy and wet the air feels. Right now, to tell us a little bit more about today's competition as we get ready for run number 2, I introduce from Team USA, 2022 Olympian Zach DiGregorio. Zach, welcome back.
Thank you, Tim. And yeah, this should be a good second run. You see the 4 Austrians right now, 1, 2, 3, and 4, with 2 Germans hungry for getting a couple hundredths on Wolfie and David to try to get onto that podium.
And now this is a track that admittedly, as recently as yesterday, Zach, gives you trouble. Why is it so problematic for so many athletes?
Yeah, it's a big pressure track, so you need to be pushing those pressures at the correct time, otherwise they'll catch up to you quick, and even if you don't notice that curve that you messed up, you'll feel it in the next one, so it's very tough to get down here smooth. Here you're seeing the run where they're starting. 2 quick and easy curves so far. And then curve 3, 4, where we haven't seen anyone really have too much problems up in this upper section. It's really been just a difficult labyrinth that we're going to be getting into here soon. Curve 7 setting you up here for curve 8, which is key to getting that 8-9 combination right. So really quick transition to 10, and then 11 is that one that you really see the result. In that little straightaway before 12, you can see sleds hit the wall or start skidding. Coming out of 13 here, it's the long straight. You'll see the top sleds are really smooth through here and just building speed all the way down to the finish.
Our thanks, as always, to Felix Locke for providing this point of view look down the track, and to Julian von Schleinitz, who has prepared a lot of the graphics over the years to give you the G-forces and the speed. So as we get ready for run number 2, they will go from 20th to first place in the standings based on their run 1 results. 30 started, only 20 qualified, including all of the Germans and Austrians. The 1 American, as you see there, in number 9 position. Leon Felderer, one of 2 Italians. Fischnaller sitting in 13th place after run number 1. But as Zach mentioned, all Germany and Austria, but certainly with a chance for the Germans to move up onto the podium. They love their sledding. I mentioned it here in Oberhof, as we're just a week away or so from the world's most famous person on a sled, Santa, getting ready to make his run coming up on the evening of the 24th. Just had to throw a holiday greeting out there, and that's my version of it, Zach.
Yeah, and it's very, very Christmassy here right now in Oberhof. Tons of snow, and yeah, you just get the winter feel.
Sure. I mean, you know, Max Langenhahn and Natalie and Armin Zugler, those are famous athletes on the sled, but no one more than Santa. Okay, the German flags are flying. Can Germany make its way onto the podium? They're on the outside looking in here in run number 2, but run number 2 starts with those who just made it in the first heat qualifying. Marian Skupek, one of 2, or I guess, no, looking at it, the only Slovakian in the race.
Yeah, after Ninnis.
So Skubek, yeah, his Ninnis, right, crashed to start things off.
But it's pretty tight racing here for the first 4 or 5 sleds. You know, they're all within a tenth, so could be interesting.
That's right. Yes, go.
Tail end of things.
That's exactly right. If you're new to the sport, it's 2 runs combined time. So Skubek is not already 1 minute into his run. That was added on to his first heat time of 43.741.
Smooth lads here so far. Oh, surprise, but holds it together.
Skubek did all he could to keep it together from curves 13 around 14 to the finish. 43.737, that's within 4 thousandths of a second of his first run time, so consistency is always a nice thing.
Yeah, now he'll just have the game of waiting and seeing if he can pick off anyone or if he'll stay in that 20th position.
Slovakia will not be part of the relay later today. I guess that's due to the absence of a women's doubles team.
Yeah, and women's singles too, so right now it's just, just men on the Slovakian national team.
Great to see Valentin qualify for run number 2 for the first time this season. Cretu of Romania, one of the senior members of this World Cup tour, 35 years old. He's a 3-time Olympian. Actually a 4-time Olympian. Valentin's first Olympics were in Vancouver in 2010.
We got a pretty smooth. Oh, big problems. I jinxed it. But big problems out of 11 there.
That will cost him his position. As Skubek will move up 1, Valley falls back 1. We've seen that a few times today, Zach, where that, I believe it's curve 11, or maybe 10-11 combination causes a big problem. It could have been worse, but if nothing else, it slowed him down to make 13 a little more tame.
Yeah, curve 11 was just a tough one. There's a lot of pressure there. You have to be really on, and you saw he just comes a little too high at the end. Kufin slaps down and just puts him into a skid there into the left. Did a great job handling it, making sure everything was good before 13, but not the fastest line down the track.
First of 3 Italians getting ready to go. Alex Gufla about to put that shield down. I got to credit all of you athletes, Zach, to stand there and wait for 2 or 3 seconds down at the finish for the camera to get that shot of you, and that's not the easiest thing to do, especially if you've had a poor run.
Yeah, very easy job done when it's a good run, but when it's not the result you want to get away from the camera as fast as possible.
22-year-old hoping to qualify for the Italian Olympic team in 2026, an Olympics that at least as of now is slated to be held on a brand new home track in Cortina d'Ampezzo, Italy, not too far from South Tyrol.
Yeah, and it's going to be a competitive one to get 3 sleds from certain nations. I know the U.S. is going to have to battle with Italy, and same with Latvia, I believe, for getting that 3rd sled from the men's singles field.
In singles, and it will be equally as much of a battle to get a 2nd sled in men's doubles.
Yep.
And as of now, only 1 sled in women's doubles.
Yeah, it'll be a crazy year next year. It's coming up soon.
Gufla crossing the finish line as you just saw with the second fastest start time, the fastest down time, 127.285 for the 2 heats, and a top speed of 73.5 miles per hour.
Yeah, and he looked nice and smooth all the way down the track. No big problem, so he'll be happy with that result.
2 Ukrainians qualifying for run number 2 here, both in consecutive positions on the leaderboard and battling one another to make it into the team relay a little later on today and join the likes of Tanitska and Stetskiv and others. Anton Dukash up now, Andrei Monzi up next, and they're only separated by about 0.06 of a second.
And Alex and Anton were only 1,000th apart before this run, so it all comes down to it.
Now the 11, 12, 13 combination.
Ooh, some small problems, but
wow,
should
that was
have
a
enough
great
speed.
correction.
Yeah, really impressive.
127.224. Dukash does his part, opening up another 500ths or so on his advantage over the Italian, but now he will wait. And as we've mentioned a couple of times, when it comes to the team relay, different countries have different qualifying standards, so I'm not quite sure what the decision will be made regardless of what Manzi does in a moment.
Yeah, I'm not positive on that. I think, like you said, every country, something different, so you're always kind of just waiting to see who shows up to the start. Really good correction here out of 13. Could have gotten away from him, but he did a great job minimizing it and getting nice and good entrance into Kreisel.
Great seeing a full squad of Ukrainians week in and week out here on tour. Last season, Andrei Monzi had a 19th place and a 17th place after run number 1. Or I should say at the end of the races. He's in 16th here after run number 1. These World Cups seem a lot shorter now with them cutting down the field in the second heat.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that, you know, everyone wants as many runs as they can at each track, so with some of the smaller nations not getting those 2 runs, it's tough for some people.
Some nice driving here.
Yeah, he's just building so much speed here on Anton.
Monzi had a 43.589 in the first run. He betters that by more than 1/10 of a second. A great way to finish. And I expect we'll probably see this man, Andrei Monzi, coming up later on in the relay as he won both heats and finishes ahead of Dukash. A former American doubles athlete, Dan Joy, Zach, says about Oberhof, it's not known for its speed, its technical design, we know that, but he brings up an interesting point. He said, it's not the fastest track, you're only going like 70 miles per hour, but it feels like you're going over 80 miles per hour. Is that true?
Yeah, exactly. You know, we go to Whistler and it's so fast there, but there's not the crazy pressure, so it doesn't really feel like it's going so fast, it's more just the visual, but here it feels like you're going fast the entire way down.
Now in his 6th year on the World Cup team, this is Leon Felder of Italy, 15th after run number 1. The sprint weekend, that would have just made him into the sprint if he holds on to his position. Leon, 24 years old, part of the military athlete program in Italy, and also the athlete representative to the International Luge Federation's executive board.
Yeah, and Leon's done a great job at that position. He really cares about what the athletes' concerns are and stuff, and tries to change the sport to be as best he can.
His put on a jacket and tie and go to all of those meetings.
Yeah. And a great run.
Really nice. Yeah, great straightaway into 14.
Yeah, he'll be proud of that one. Maybe not the speed he wanted to see, but just a very good run.
Nice showing by Italy's Leon Felderer. That will keep him, no doubt, into the seeded group after the holiday break when action resumes in Latvia. Now, he still needs to move up a couple of positions to better his opening race times. He had a 10th and a 12th in the first two races.
There you see Leon with his sister.
His sister Emma. There's Mateusz Sokovic of Poland. We will also see Mateusz a little later on, as Poland will be the first nation to go in the team relay. Now, Mateusz had some top 12 results, top 15s. Was fairly consistent about 5 or 6 years ago. It makes me wonder how that awful crash in China affected his performance. He came back pretty quickly, and that was great, but that was something else.
Very impressive by him to come back at all. I mean, that was a terrifying incident there. And he's a very strong athlete, great starts, and when he puts down 2 good runs, he's normally
and it was an accident that was not his fault at all. If people don't recall, it was a track worker error.
Yeah,
nice run going here.
Not a driving error. There's just nothing he could even do.
126.745. Felderer put down a good one. Sokovic does a better one, and he holds on to his spot. That's going to be a good showing, no worse than top 14 for Mateusz Sokovic. And he did not even qualify for a second run in either of the first 2 races.
And then he'll have one more run later today, I believe.
And like Switzerland, Poland trains with the Germans as well, so they get a lot of time on this track.
Yeah, and you see that in his comfortability here. Very smooth lines, pushing the head back. Good save there out of 13.
Sweden's Svante Koala poised to have his best result of the season. He opened things up on his home track in Lillehammer with a 19th place finish and finished 22nd last week in Innsbruck. Now he sits trying to protect a top 13 showing.
And he looked very confident on the first run, so hopefully he can put down another good one.
Does well on this Oberhof track. He was top 15 in both races last year.
Very solid run so far. Now tied and into the green.
Great to see some of these athletes picking up time down at the bottom. Impressive showing by Svante Koala, equaling his result last year at the World Cup in Oberhof. He can do no worse than a top 13.
And he'll be happy about that one. 2 great runs, had some speed, and yeah.
Sure. The American coming up next only has 500s on Svante. And then the next couple, he could potentially move up a few more spots. Maybe it's shaving the beard this year that's giving him that extra aerodynamic advantage.
It's like the Michael Phelps.
That's right. Svante done for the weekend. And speaking of beards, the man with one of the more robust facial hair appearances on tour, now paddling out of the start. This is USA's Johnny Gustafson. Johnny about a hundredth of a second better at the start than he was in run number 1.
You see him already losing some speed, which is interesting, and you saw how much speed Svante had at the bottom. Oh, but he gains it back.
Now curve 13, the exit here is key, and Johnny is smack down the middle, entering the finish Kreisel.
Yeah, that's just a great race for Johnny there.
126.601, that 43.266 is the second run down time. That is 700ths better than his first meet. Athletes are trending a little faster right now, Zach, at least in the middle portion of run number 2.
Yeah, and with the 42.6 by, who was it? Yeah, by Jonas, that's possible to speed up just that 1/10 they need to get near that track record.
That'll be fun to see. That's still about 15 minutes away to the podium contest. Johnny Gustafson of the USA trying to grab himself a spot in the top 10. He began the run in 12th place.
It's definitely possible with a run like that. He was very smooth there, and just great start to the season for him.
22-year-old Gens Berzinch. The focus on his face, pulling the handles. 1, 2, 3, 4 paddles, which is somewhat aggressive paddling on a short and steep ramp.
Yeah, you see athletes anywhere from 2 to, I think 4 has been the most, so.
As opposed to the lower start in Königssee or Winterberg, where you can have 8 or 9. Second fastest start time for the Latvian here in run number 2.
And he's losing a little bit of time. This is going to be really close at the bottom here. He really needs a good exit at 13. Which he did, but
from 500
into Kreisel.
Yeah, this is going to be very close, USA and Latvia, and the Latvian holds on by 0.006 of a second. Berzins holds his spot in the top 11. Gustafson holds his spot in the top 12, but we still have the top 10, the all-important top 10, coming up in just a moment.
Yeah, very close racing with 0.006 there. Just losing it constantly throughout the run. Very strong start, but the rest of the run was just much slower.
Yeah, that was that extra paddle right before that right-hand turn was a little bit nervy. Four Austrians in today's race. They hold the top 4 positions, but there are also 4 from here in Germany in the top 10. And the fastest of the qualifiers in run number 1 was this man, David Nussler, 23-year-old from here in Oberhof. Finished second or third rather in the Nations Cup qualifying on Friday.
And you hear the crowd here starting to light up with the home track slider here.
Looking really strong here, and a huge advantage right now over the Latvian.
Yeah, this is gonna keep him in first and hopefully pick off a few in the top 10 here.
I would expect so. Let's see, this 43.199, that's just a little bit, a few thousandths of a second faster than his first heat run. But it's a clear advantage over the 10 that had gone before him. And with the next Latvian, Apriot's coming up next, their differential is only about 0.06 of a second. Of the 4 Germans in today's race, 2 of them consider Oberhof their home track. Gronkengiolo coming up in a little bit is from Altenburg, and famously Felix Lach from the Königssee track. This was as good a piece of driving as we've seen, at least in run number 2.
Yeah, very impressive from David there.
Christers Apriot's one of the biggest, strongest athletes in men's singles luge, 26 years old. He and his sister have both been part of the national team for years now.
We'll see what Christers can do. He had a clean first run, but not too much speed, so hopefully he can speed up on the second one and start fighting a little bit with those Germans and Austrians up on the top.
He starts in the green. He's holding about that same advantage he took into run number 2 at that last stop of the clock. This is where we'll see how he's trending. 1:13, the stoppage here, opening it up.
And a very smooth run by Christers here.
This is the run he's been waiting all season for. 126.401, a half second faster than the German. Third fastest start time, fastest down time so far in run number 2. And quite a bit faster than his first heat.
Yeah, that would have put him in around the 6th position after the first run, so he's gonna be wishing he had that same run.
9th and 8th in the first 2 races so far this season for Christers. He's at least matched that 9th place finish now. Latvia out in front as run number 2 continues here in Oberhof. I'm Tim Singer along with Zach Di Gregorio. Of the final 8, 7 are from Germany and Austria. Before they go, here's Italy's top hope, the Olympic bronze medalist Dominic Fishnala.
And Dominic's been steady year in, year out, always clean runs, always pushing the position, looking great on the sled, but this year he has not found as much speed as he's wanted.
Yeah, that's true with all of the Italians. Dominic, a fixture usually in the top 5 in the World Cup the last several seasons. He won the World Cup overall a couple of years ago. But he falls behind Apriot's here at the midway point.
I see some problems there into 11, nothing major, but just losing time to Christers.
Perfect. It was such a sweet drive line too, but the speed isn't there. Falling back just 1 position, but a distant 1500ths behind Christers Apriot's.
Yeah, Dominic will be disappointed in that one. Not due to a sliding or a start, but just the speed that he couldn't find.
The focus on the face of the newly engaged athlete from Italy, Dominic Fishnala.
Und jetzt haben wir 3 Deutsche hintereinander nach 3 Germans in a row. Timon Grancagnolo, Max Langenheim und dann Felix Loch. Zunächst einmal Timon Grancagnolo.
Hola, Emmy, Milena, Eli, hallo.
Timon Grancagnolo, the second of the 4 Germans, stormed out of the gate to open up this season with a victory in the Nations Cup in Lillehammer, Norway. He followed that up with a top 4, a career best in the World Cup. Dropped down to 10th place last week in Innsbruck, but now he's sitting in 8th after 1 run here. 7th, actually. Zach, all Germans and Austrians remaining now.
Yeah, this is the real race here with all the Germans slightly behind the Austrians and just trying to catch up with their amazing speed.
Trailing Latvia at the moment, Grancagnolo at the next stop, 600ths. That is surmountable, but he'll need to be perfect here, and he is. 119 kilometers an hour, staying behind Christers Apriot's. So Apriot's finally having the race he's been waiting all season for. It probably won't be enough to move up anymore, but he does pick off a couple.
Yeah, great work by Christers on that second run. You really saw him just pushing and finding a little bit more speed. And yeah, moving him up to the top 7.
the moment of truth when the shield comes down. This was well done.
Yeah, very smooth, making it look easy down there.
25-year-old Max Langenhahn. He still leads in the points, but Max was in very unfamiliar position last week where he finished in 5th in the World Cup race. It's rare you don't see Max on the podium. He's back in 6th place right now after run number 1, but he's on his home track, and listen to the crowd roar.
And a great start by Max there, so just needs to get down very smooth. First run, there must have been some little problems to slow him down a bit, but setting himself in a good position to maybe get on the podium. Oh, big skid into 11 and out.
Really racing on the edge here.
Yeah, which you don't see as much from Max. He's normally very steady, not looking like he's pushing too hard. Wow.
Falling behind Aperiodes. This is a bit of a surprise here. Max Langenhahn will be out of the top 5 unless something else happens here on his home track. He's still a hero here, and they love him trackside. He's disappointed clearly. And Zach, could it be a case where he was just trying to maybe take a few chances in order to try to catch up to the Austrians?
I'm guessing so, because this wasn't his normal sliding you see from him. So I think with that gap, he saw there needed to be some sort of change and maybe pushed it a bit too hard.
One more German now left to come. He's won on this track many times. Here he is, Felix Lach, 3-time Olympic gold medalist, 2 in men's singles, 1 in team relay. But more to the point, 52 career World Cup victories in his storied career. 3rd fastest start time.
And he was only a few hundredths away from the Austrian, so if it's possible, he could do it.
0.2 of a second right now ahead of Aperiodes.
Very smooth lines here.
We've said it week in and week out, Felix has a knack of creating run 2 magic, and check out that line.
Yeah, not gaining too much on Aperiodes, but holding that time.
That's right, he held it almost steady. It's almost as if the two of them raced neck and neck all the way down. It was that advantage he took into the run, it's the advantage he hangs on to. Felix Lach will be the top placing German here on this German track. The question though remains, will it be enough to get onto the podium? 200ths out of 4th place. He's 300ths off of the podium after run number 1. So it's totally doable, Zach.
Yeah, very. And it's going to be a fun race to watch with the next two having slower starts than Felix, that they're going to be just catching up the whole way.
I may sound like a broken record because for the 2nd week in a row, 4 sleds remain. All 4 of these athletes are from Austria. First up in 4th place after run number 1, he was 3rd last weekend, David Gleicha. Still ahead his teammates Kindle, Nico Gleicha, and Mueller. How much does he give away here?
Wow, good
4th fastest start time, not bad.
Yeah. That's going to make it very tough for Lach to come in front of him.
Especially, Zach, the way we've seen these Austrian sleds fly down at the bottom.
Yeah, I don't think we see that gap lose. Yeah, it's just growing and growing, so this could be almost a 10th at the finish, if not more.
Here in Oberhof, the Austrians will spoil the German party. It's a guaranteed victory for Austria. Not only that, David Gleicher holds his spot. Not only that, he does it with the fastest time so far in run number 2. But he'll still have to wait and see what his 3 countrymen do to see if he can make it onto the podium.
And just a different level by the Austrians this year.
No question. And Gleicher and Müller, who will be the last to go, they've had podiums on this track here in Oberhof in the last couple of years. So they're somewhat comfortable here.
Yeah, Jonas, I feel like from the time I was on tour, every race we've had here, he's been very solid and looks good on the sled. So I think he's in a comfortable spot.
Wolfie Kindle, he's been on the podium several times already this season, once in singles, 3 times in doubles. What a year for this 36-year-old athlete from Wintersport.
So impressive. Just to be doing doubles and singles at the same time is hard enough, so to be at the top.
Absolutely, and when you consider the injuries he's fought off, the back injury over the last couple of years, he was sick with mono this summer and missed most of a month of training.
And you see him into the green early, which normally with Wolfie you don't see him lose that, but it is now tied.
Tied to the 1,000th of a second. Good line here, but dropping 200ths back. Will have all he can do to stay on the podium. Kindle to the finish, and it is a podium for David Gleicher. Wolfgang Kindle at the moment on the outside looking in.
This is shaping up to be this very similar to Eagles there, with Jonas in first, with David, who was in 4th and then moved up to 3rd.
Regardless, we'll see Wolfie again later today as he'll represent Austria in team relay.
And you see a skid there out of 11, but handles it great. Gets into 12 fine and loses some time, but kept him in the top 2.
Last week's 1-2-3-4 finish for Austria last week. Nico Gleicher was the winner of that race. Jonas Müller was 2nd, David Gleicher 3rd, and Wolfie 4th. Now it's Nico trying to make a run at 2 in a row, looking to win his 6th World Cup race in his career. It's brother against brother on the track here in Oberhof.
Another great
big
start
advantage.
Time. Yeah, coming into this run with 2 tenths over his brother, I think he'll be able to hold it on as long as he has a nice clean run in.
One sled remaining, also from Austria, but this is for the podium sweep. And looking like advantage Nico.
Good high line in 13, but handles it great.
Plenty in the bank for him to stay in the green. Nico Gleicher with another podium position. Will it be a victory? That remains to be seen. But what we do know, Zach, is for the 2nd week in a row, Austria has swept the podium, and this time they do it in Germany.
Just wild to see. You don't hear about that happening 2 weeks in a row, so very impressive.
We've seen it happen in Austria. We've seen the Germans sweep the podium here. We've seen the Americans do it in Lake Placid, but it can't be often in the history of this sport that a country sweeps the podium in another nation.
Yeah, it's got to hurt the Germans on this one, having the Austrians come in and dominate so much this weekend.
And I stand corrected. Actually, German women used to do it everywhere about 15 years ago, before there was more parity in the women's singles. Austria 1, 2, 3. Will they be 1, 2, 3, 4? Here is the pride of Blue Dents Austria, a world champion in the sprint right here on this track, Jonas Müller. Nico win on tour for the 5th time, or will Mueller win for the 6th?
Start record.
Wow. Saving the best for last.
You know, that's 2 weeks in a row for him too. He had start record in Eagles by a crazy amount, and now start record here.
1600s at that last stop of the clock.
A little
We'll
rough
see.
at 10.
Yeah, we'll see if that multiplies. He's opened up the lead, actually.
Yeah, I think with that good of a start and just really laying it back, it's enough speed for him.
Jonas Mueller, he certainly didn't make it look easy, but he did hang on for the victory. And Austria, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the 2nd week in a row, begging the question, can anyone stop the Austrians this season?
That is insane. I think the Latvians will be ready for Sigulda.
Mueller over a pair of Gleiches and Kindle. Pretty close to how it was last weekend. You just flip-flop positions 1st and 2nd. You know, you bring up a great point, Zach, with Latvia next week. If Oberhof is one of Jonas's favorite tracks, Sigulda is anything but.
Yeah, and I think that's for the entire Austrian team. They're not super comfortable in Sigulda, so might be a little breath of fresh air with not a 1, 2, 3, 4 there maybe. But well done by the Austrians this weekend.
Coaching staff and fellow teammates, and they still have work to do. I got to give them the heavy favorite billing, Zach, for the team relay.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone will be able to touch them. I mean, across every category, just so fast. So,
if they had the depth in doubles, Austria number 2 actually could be contending.
Yeah, exactly.
with Lisa Schulte and Nico. Here are the results: 1, 2, 3, 4 for the 2nd week in a row. Germany holding down positions 5, 7, 8, and 10, with only 1 Latvian and 1 Italian cracking the top 10 outside of Austria and Germany. USA, Sweden, Poland in positions 12th, 13th, and 14th as they count them down to Valley Cretu. The top 20 here at the World Cup in Oberhof. This is just the first of 2 World Cups to be held here in Oberhof. We'll be back here in late January. Looks like both of the Gleiches are racing onto the podium with colds because, well, at least David, he's been coughing a lot.
Yeah, I noticed that as soon as he got off the track, he was already coughing, so some much needed Christmas break.
Gotta love the fact that these luge fans here in Thuringia, certainly they love to see their Germans do well, but they are sticking around, they're showing their enthusiasm, their appreciation for some great sliding by the Austrians. Zach, it's great sliding, but it's also phenomenal equipment. Which is it more of in your estimation?
I think as good as the equipment can be, you still need someone who can take it down the track. So I think, yes, you need to be a great slider and have that timing of having that great equipment, but I think it's equal parts at some point.
Moments away from hearing from the top 3, and you can bet Austrian television is also waiting to do its interviews with these Austrians. Final World Cup standings, I should say, right now. We'll see how it shakes up. Kindle still in the hunt, as you see, in 3rd place, despite being off the podium the last 2 weeks. He was the lone Austrian on the podium the opening weekend in Lillehammer. But Nico Gleiche leading the way just ahead of Jonas Mueller. Felix in 5th place, right behind the defending World Cup champion, Max Langenhahn. Well, this is somewhat of a broken record. Another week, another Austrian sweep. 3rd place going to 2018 Olympic medalist David Gleiche. Of the quartet of Austrians, he has the fewest World Cup victories, but he has that Olympic title. 2nd place, his younger brother, 27-year-old Nico. So you know their parents, Gerhard and Sabine, are proudly watching another dominating effort by their sons as they trail only teammate Jonas Müller, winning for the 4th time on the World Cup. Actually, correction, it's Jonas's 6th all-time World Cup victory. Let's hear from the top athletes down at the finish in just a moment here.
David, congratulations on the podium again, an all-Austrian podium here in Germany. How do you feel?
It feels amazing, especially here in Oberhof, where for a long time the Germans dominated here. Here 1 till 4, that's unbelievable.
Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you.
Nico right there for the 2nd place interview.
Okay.
Nico, congratulations, P2 here in Germany. How were the track conditions for you today?
It was awesome. The training was not so easy for me after Eagles, but yeah, I was today, everything on the top, and yeah, it's awesome to have a 3rd, all 4 on the. It's awesome.
3 out of 4 race wins this weekend in doubles and singles for Team Austria. The men's singles winner, Jonas Müller.
Jonas, you're winning here in Germany. You had the starting record. How do you feel here?
Yeah, no, it's been a great week here. I like Oberhof. I have great memories here in Oberhof, and yeah, no, it's been great. And I don't know, it seems almost easy, I think, for us Austrians right now. I don't know what it is, but the coaches, they do a great job in the sled room. Our sleds are super fast. I'm super happy with my start. Yeah, everything is really good right now.
Celebratory Red Bull for the champ, and Zach, to wrap things off, he said it kind of made it look easy here. That will be anything but when they get to Sigulda.
Yeah, and they truly did. I mean, to go 1, 2, 3, 4, barely any mistakes in their runs, and just have so much speed, it's impressive.
Well, Zach, rest up. You and Sean come back strong when we get to Sigulda in 3 weeks. Enjoy your holiday break, and thanks so much for the commentary.
Thank you for having me, Tim, and yeah, I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a nice little break.
You as well. That is Team USA's Zach DiGregorio as the Austrian sweep 1, 2, 3, 4 for the 2nd week in a row. But we're not done. One more piece of business coming your way when we return to Oberhof. It's the team relay. 8 teams waiting at the start. Germany, Austria, the USA, Latvia, and Italy vying for those podium positions. Don't go away. That comes your way at about 1/2 the hour. And we'll be back here in Oberhof. But until then, for Zach DiGregorio and our entire FIL TV crew, thanks for the great sounds, the great pictures, and thanks to our audience for joining in. I'm Tim Singer saying so long for now.